right, welcome back to the Black Sports Network. My name is Brianna DeBose. What's going on, y'all? We're back with our Women in Sports series. Today in front of me, I have Mickey Yant, who is the Group Sales Account Executive for the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins, of the NFL. Mickey, thank you so much for agreeing to do this and taking the time out on a Friday. We are so thankful to have you and just dive right into this interview. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you have quite a journey, and we're going to get all up in it because, you've worked in different places in sports, NFL, MLB, collegiate, all of it. But please tell me, what is one thing that's brought you joy into the new year and why?
Ooh, into the new year, brought something that has brought me joy in this new year.
Mm-hmm.
I would say so. I'm an artist by nature, a visual artist by nature, and so recently, actually today, an hour ago, I launched a college apparel business, creative college apparel, with designs I created myself by hand with a pencil and paper.
Okay.
So from start to finish, and have the release be today. I'm pretty excited about that. My art has brought me more joy this year than it has in quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. I think that's so dope. I think people that are just the most creative usually like hold on very close to their art or like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't want to release the project." So I'm happy that you released the project to the world. Do you want to plug it? Like, what's the name? Where can we find
Oh, yeah.
this?
It's called At Campus Activity on
Ooh.
Instagram, and the website is thecampusactivity.com. I'm doing different HBCU schools that are underrepresented. And so today, the first official launch went with Jackson State University, as they do have football. It's my second alma mater. So why not? The hype around Dion is cool. So
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Matter of fact, why don't you talk about it right now? How does that make you feel? You are a double HBCU alum, Florida A&M for your BA, Jackson State for your MA, and now Jackson State is bringing all the buzz with Deion Sanders. RIP to that man's phone. I heard it got stolen, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but he got it back.
he got it
Yo,
back.
that's crazy. I was like, dang, they were really plotting on my man like that.
Got it back.
But like, what are your thoughts on just the overall shift in HBCUs and how they're getting so much funding, how they're constantly in the talks? I mean, obviously, our first lady is from a HBCU, Howard University, and so all of a sudden everybody's like, HBCU, what is that? How can we give them funding? Oh my gosh, this has been around. I'm like, yes, it's been around. They've been fostering some of the brightest, most beautiful Black minds since, forever, because that's where we could only go to school, when this was first starting out. So what are your thoughts on that, and how has that kind of carried you in your own career?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not going to say I take better late than never. I definitely will take even in my master's program at Jackson State, one of my thesis was the effect of desegregation on HBCU athletic programs. And so one thing that I like to capitalize any chance I get, I tell people, oh, I went to FAMU, I went to Jackson State, and I'm sitting in these same rooms with people who went to the Florida States and the University of Florida and the Ole Misses and the Alabamas, and we're doing the same job, and we're doing it efficiently no matter where we came from.
Right.
I never ever let the chance pass to tell them that no, we were dominating at one point when this HBCUs were just for us. When this is the only place that we had our space to go, we were killing it. Like Grambling was killing it, FAMU was killing it, Jackson State was killing it. They have, Jackson has the most NFL Hall of Famers in the state of Mississippi. They have 4. So when it was HBCU programs with top HBCU athletes, they were dominating. And if you look at these other schools, they're dominating because of us. I mean, that's just being as candid as possible. If you take us off their teams, would they be the powerhouses that they are today?
The answer is no.
You have to pay the homage. The answer is no to HBCU for being first. And but I am happy that now we're starting to get our due diligence. That 5-star recruits are now starting to say, hey, why not? You get that same exposure being that same player. If all of you guys come, why not shift it back? So it's not something new. Why not give it back to us? Give it back to the same people that poured into you, the schools that were created for you. Why not give that back so that we have that funding? And so I am happy to see, I think the Black Lives Matter movement had a lot to do with it, but I'm happy to see big corporations stepping up behind it. I know Home Depot always does the retool your schools. And I'm glad that these schools are starting to get the resources, the publicity, the airtime on ESPN and NBA TV. I think Grambling, don't misquote me on that, Grambling played the other day on NBA TV. So I'm just starting to get our recognition, getting our flowers while we're here.
Energy. That's exactly how I feel. Honestly, HBCUs were bringing about the most incredible and prolific athletes, right? Some of our time, basically. And then when we get to integration and PWIs start to say, oh, let's try to snatch them. Let's get them over here, right? Like you mentioned that point of where would they be, right? Where would they be without Black athletes? And we know that Black athletes make up the majority of revenue generators for their sports, for, basketball, for football, and, help fund major departments. And obviously major sports entities, billions and billions of dollars. And speaking of major sports entities, you work for one, you work at the Dolphins, but you've also had quite a journey in sports. So I want to kind of back up. Please tell us about your journey in sports. You've worked, for the NFL, the MLB, at the collegiate level, and you're with the Dolphins now. Please tell us, like, how did you kind of come about? And you've also worked, which I like, you've worked in different areas of sports, not just in group sales, which I think is dope, but you've worked in different areas and you can kind of speak to those as well. Please tell us more.
Absolutely. So when I was an undergraduate, I was a cheerleader at Florida A&M University. And so I cheered my freshman year. And after that, I no longer cheered, but I still wanted to be so involved in the athletic realm. Back up a little bit, I'm the only girl of 5 boys. So if you can imagine.
It's sports 24/7. You already know.
24/7. And so my parents owned a public relations business back in Jackson, and they brought this event called Battle of the Border, where high school players, so like LeBron James, I know, who did I meet? Lou Will, Monte Ellis. It was that big baby, and they played in Mississippi. And so just growing up, I didn't realize it. It was subconsciously like, hey, wait, I'm actually like working in this business. I got to help with passing out programs and passing out flyers and just being around the progress. So fast forwarding back to college, with wanting to be so just involved still in athletics, I did not know how to separate that. Like, who am I without here? I still have to be around it. I started volunteering with the athletic department with like their game day operations, their marketing, passing out t-shirts, just kind of being in the mix.
In the mix,
I just need to be involved. And so in the process, we have a position with the Student Government Association called the Deputy Secretary of Athletic Affairs. And so what that person does is handle the affairs of the student athletes as it pertains to their campus life. So it makes them feel like people. And so we did little things like put voting booths down at the at study hall, so you didn't have to walk all the way across campus, and making sure that they're immersed in the school culture. Because when you're an athlete, it's working out, eating right, going to sleep, practice, games, but you don't really get to be involved in school, making sure that they community, boosting student morale. So we planned things like when they got off the bus, even the baseball team, when they got off the bus, students were rallying to bring in signs like welcome home. So a lot of fun little auxiliary services, pep rallies, we got to plan that in that department. And so while I was at Florida A&M University, we went through coaches kind of a lot. We went through a lot of head coaches. Just having gone on campus, my cousin became the wide receiver coach and asked me he would just call me out of class to come do tours and be like, can you show this player around? Can you show his family around? And I'm like, all right, like I'm getting cool.
All right, cuz, all right, I'll be there.
After that, I just started lingering around him, like helping out. And sometimes we'd be sitting in the office and players would be like, oh, I need help picking classes. And I would just like scoot over, like, let's find the best teachers. And I, for some reason, became an advisor. Then it just escalated from there to where I got to work in basically like player personnel, player operations, where it came handling their schools, things that they needed to make their moms feel at ease, their parents feel at ease about sending them there, recruitment. So anything that they asked, I was kind of a one-stop shop.
And you're still in school yourself at this point.
I'm out of school now.
Okay, you're out of, okay. We transitioned out of school. I was like, dang, you doing a lot.
I'm still in school here. I'm still in undergrad.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's what I thought.
Yes. But when talking to some mentors, I asked, like, you know what? I want to work in sports full time. How do I do that? I was receiving my bachelor's in entomology, which is the study of insects, so totally unrelated. And I was a junior. Yes.
I mean, yo, to each their own. That's interesting. I had one woman on here talking about BA in chemistry. So you know what? You rocking with it.
Yeah, chemistry is the reason I'm no longer pursuing a career in insects, because I could not pass chemistry, and so life had to take a different turn. What else was I good at? And so then I was like, well, I want to do this. Like, this is what I want to do. There is no undergrad for it anyway, so it was no reason to change my major that late in the game. And so I was told, go get your master's in sport management. You have the field experience, and we'll do that. So finished out at Florida A&M and went and got my master's. I went back home to Jackson, Mississippi, which is where I'm from, and received my master's in sport management. Yes. During the process, I just went to the football department, like, how can I help? How can I help? Like, what can I do? What can I do? And they were like, oh, we need somebody in video. So I was like, all right.
I peeped that. I was like, wait, so then she went from here to, and then we go to video. So now we've got, so you're doing video and editing. And
so yeah, intercutting film. So videographer, I was a videography assistant at Jackson State for a quick spell.
Right.
Luckily, I wasn't able to be compensated. So I was like, oh, I have to think of something else. But during my master's program, we had to do an internship. You had to take an internship. But I noticed that most of my classmates were interning at the school. They wanted to be coaches. They wanted to be trainers. And I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to work in professional sports. Mississippi does not have any professional sports teams. So I took the chance that I'm going to probably have to leave, but I'm going to take an internship somewhere else. So that's what I did. I applied for a lot of internships, just grabbing at straws, and landed one with the St. Louis Cardinals in baseball.
Yes, I saw that. I was like, okay, so we're in the MLB now.
Yeah,
I was really intrigued by this whole thing. I was just like, I can't wait to talk to this woman, because her story, I'm just like, she's from here, there, like, just okay, keep going.
Bouncing like Carmen Sandiego, like, where in the world is Mickey? So yeah, it was a year-long internship, and I just took a leap of faith. I had never in my life been to a baseball game. Never had been to a baseball game, professional game, period. Never had been to St. Louis and didn't know anybody. But I flew up for the interview. I'm assuming I did really well because I got the job, and so I was a stadium and events operations intern.
Okay, so now we're in stadium and events. Okay,
operations, yeah.
All right.
And it was best experiences I could say. It was very hands-on. I got to learn a lot about the business, the ins and outs of things that people don't even know that it takes to just have you walk into the door and be inside safely. That what goes into like your experience and how people treat you, what goes into getting you your keys back, like the little things that you don't think about. I got to be a part of all of that and just see something being executed from this is an idea to this is the grand scheme. It was super rewarding, and I wish I could have stayed there, but the joke in St. Louis is people don't quit, they die there, and I believe it. I love it. The organization was amazing. So finished that. I completed that, and like most people, I did not have a job when it was over. I was still in grad school at the time, and I went to go teach biology in Huntsville, Alabama. And in the middle of class, I still was applying for because I didn't want to like stop my dream. I knew what I wanted to do.
Right.
So applied for some jobs, and in the middle of biology, I remember getting a call from a 305 number, and I'm like yelling at the kids, like, please, y'all, no homework. Like, I need to take this. This is the Dolphins calling. And when I said that, the football players in class were like, okay, y'all, Miss Yant is getting this call, like, be quiet.
Like, this could change her life, y'all. Please, just.
So talked to them and flew out, and over the course of some weeks, was accepted the job with the Dolphins as the entry level inside sales representative position. It was great. We got to work all in every different department. We got to Hard Rock Stadium is full venue. So soccer, concerts. Miami Open was there the first year that I was there. So the new Miami Open tennis tournament. We worked concerts. We worked in soccer, and then of course the Miami Dolphins, the general football brand.
Yeah.
So then 6 months into the job, just grinding it out, I was promoted to the group sales team. And so that's kind of now that's how I got here. I won Innovator of the Year in 2019 for really cool events that I put on, a sneaker convention for the stadium, a motorcycle rally, some holiday parties. So
wow. My mind is blown. My mind is blown. You mentioned so many good points because people don't oftentimes talk about the journey in sports. They just say like, "Woo, I'm working for the Dolphins." Like you just say, if someone hops on here and they're just like, "Oh wow, she works for the Dolphins," boom. But like, did you listen to all the steps? Right?
Yeah,
Sometimes you were working for free, long
yeah.
hours. People don't understand sports. Hours are long as hell. Like they're so long.
Baseball is really long. Sometimes you go on 2 week stints and like two, like
Yo,
14 days.
it's
Yeah,
just long and you really gotta love what you do. And it
yeah.
seems like you do. And you also are open. Like you were open to saying, all right, this may not be, and I'm gonna ask this follow-up question as well, because I want to know like what's your ideal like sports job? Because you know you've had multiple and you've been in different sectors within sports. So what's your ideal sector per se? But you know, you were open to exploring different sectors to know what you want and know what you don't know what you like would know what you don't like. So please tell us, the audience is waiting, what is your ideal sports sector that you kind of want to get to, or are you in it, or what's going on?
For me, I want to ideally like dream job. And
Mm-hmm.
my dream job would be to be in some operational role. So whether it be player, team, or events, I like
Yeah.
seeing go from start to finish, from idea to execution. With the player and teams, I like for people to be. I'm a big believer in just people being well taken care of. So
Right.
again, whether that be in my group's capacity, whether that be in operations, like for events, is your event well taken care of? For
Right.
players well taken care of? Is your team well taken care of?
Yeah.
So be in an operational role where I'm able to take care of the matter at hand and eventually be like a vice president. I want to be in a decision-making position where we're able to hire our people, pour into our people, bring them up. And so that's the goal for me
Wow.
on it.
That's amazing. That takes a special person because events management is a lot. Like there's so many different stages, there's so
Yeah.
many just moving parts to events. And you know, you say, I want to prioritize the people, make sure everybody's good, everybody's taken care of, y'all got what you need, bet, like let's keep it pushing. So it takes a very special person to do that. And I think you'll be there. There's
We'll
no
see.
doubt in my mind. I think you'll be there. No doubt in my mind. Now, I want to kind of pivot a little bit because during COVID, right? This year's been a lot. Now, how have you kind of, I know Miami's been on that list of places that's kind of closed, but like still open. And then things are kind of, you know, it because it's warm weather, so you can have more outside events and things like that. But how has your job kind of looked like during this era of COVID?
Yeah. So first, the most obvious, I went from, walking into a stadium every day
Mm-hmm.
to rolling out of bed and my desk be my kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the first obvious thing. And then with us, with working in the groups department, we just had to like shift focus a little bit. As you know, COVID says stay away from groups. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, ooh, how does that
Absolutely.
work? We've
Yeah.
done more. Now it's more Zoom calls and let's being able to like high five and dap each other up, because our environment on the floor is crazy. When you make sales, your picture pops up and people are like screaming and clapping. And now you get like virtual claps through the with the team. So it's
Everybody's
like
on the
a
screen.
clapping,
Whoa, put your sign up.
and they're all on mute or you're getting emails.
Yeah.
But luckily for us, with Hard Rock Stadium, I'll say, is we've kind of
Mm-hmm.
been working and not saying beating everybody to the punch, but we've been thinking ahead. And so we were still able to operate it. So with just implementing new ideas, we brought the outdoor movie theater and a drive-in movie theater to the stadium, which was we were able to utilize events that way while still being able to safely social distance. And so people were able to do like small little gatherings. People like schools were still able to come out and watch movies in the cabanas. So a lot did change, but we made up for it by still keeping people engaged. We did the food relief program where we were able to deliver meals to people who might have been, affected by this and aren't able to, don't know where their next meal is going to be. We gave out 1,000 meals a day. So our job, it definitely changed 100%. We had just come off Super Bowl. So as you can imagine, we went from having so many people in the stadium to
Yeah.
now having to, host 13,000. So it was a big dip, but we were still able to effectively do that. Most teams weren't able to have people at all, not till the end. We had a really hype season with Tua coming and much success before the year prior. We ended the year really great. And so a lot did change as far as from an experience standpoint. The experience wasn't what it had been, but I think given what we had, we definitely made the best of it.
Honestly, like if you're in Miami, like there's no snow. You have been able to kind of navigate COVID in a unique space because, like you said, you get to do more indoor, outdoor events, but still be able to safely social distance.
We had no hurricanes. I don't know what. Thank Jesus.
What? Wow. I didn't know that. That's it. Shoot. I got you. All right. I think that's amazing because a lot of people had to pivot due to COVID. And I mean, it's just where we are right now. And hopefully, prayerfully, we get out of this sooner rather than later. But the innovation that I've seen this past year alone has been dope. Like just the innovative things that you've been able to do with fans, the innovative things that you've been able to do with social media and things like that. And, you know, it's amazing to kind of see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of come to fruition, you've been able to broker quite a few deals in group sales. Please walk us through like what that entails and what's your favorite deal that you've been able to kind of come out with.
Okay. So for us on the groups department, we get to have a lot more fun than everybody else. If I say, I think we get to have the most fun. We get to work with kids, or we get to work with hospitals, or just different. Anything can be a group. Any and everybody can be a group as long as it's 10 or more of you guys, you're a group. And so what that starts with is usually just conception, like, what's a group of people that we can invite out? Or anytime we talk to season ticket holders or fans, every person that you know is attached to at least 2 to 3 groups. Every single person. If I asked you today, like, how many groups are you a part of? You could probably name like 2 or 3.
Yeah, for sure.
So it goes through that, or it goes through like passion. Like, what are you passionate about? And that's usually what our director likes to ask, like, what do you like? What are you good at? And so back to the point. So once you come up with that inception or that idea, or we get that campaign, we then go prospect. So we go look up different groups in the area, or traveling team groups if that's what we're catering to, but we try to stay local. And then we speak to them and we talk about the group experiences. That's one thing I could say at Hard Rock Stadium. Our group experiences are really cool. And we try to do a good job of catering to the organization or the client. So if it's business and tailgating is important to them, we're going to throw you guys a tailgate. If taking pictures on the field after the game is important, you got it. For kids, most of the time is seeing the cheerleaders or performing at halftime. And that's usually my favorite, to see like the kids. So they like we get to be there through the whole process. So we get to be there while we introduce them, and here's the choreography. We get to deliver that by hand. So it's a lot of face-to-face. We get to go to practices. So we watch them practice. We watch the setup. And then on game day, we get to sit on the field and watch like all of that work be executed. So for us, we get to do the fun things. We're usually running around on game day, making sure that every group and what they wanted as their ideal day, their ideal outing, is executed, and that they're happy and want to do it again or add something else. My favorite deal that I brokered would have to be, I want to say for the event. With groups, we utilize our events for a lot of group sales. So we have group events, so to speak. I don't know if that makes sense. But with sneaker games, it was a passion project. My director said, what do you like? And for me, I'm like, sneakers, tennis shoes, period. My heart, I'm a sneakerhead. And
man, I need to talk to you about selling some shoes. I used to be into sneakers, but now they're just in the closet collecting dust.
What size you wear?
We could sidebar after this. Sidebar after this.
I want. But no. So with that, the client, my boss gave me. He was like, "What are you passionate about?" And I told him, "Oh, like tennis shoes." And for some reason, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, why don't we have a sneaker convention at the stadium? This is our stadium. Yeah. That's the causes of Hard Rock Stadium, is we're able to, like, our owner is so into just like what's cool and what's new that he allows, if it makes sense for the company, allows new ideas. And like our Tom Garfinkel, he's just like, if it's cool, if it's gonna make money, if it fits the brand, like they're usually very open to ideas. And so when I made it make sense and partnered with the company Sneaker Games with Eric Palmer, it just made so much sense. And so after that, I was like, okay, we're doing a sneaker convention. We're giving, if you buy a ticket here, you get a ticket to the game. And so people got to have like it was a double event. So you got to come to a sneaker convention that was all day.
All right. So your favorite deal was the sneaker convention that was it your CEO? No, it was the owner who just agreed. He was like, yeah, I'm down to do it.
Tom Garfinkel. So Tom Garfinkel was our team president. CEO.
And he was just like, yeah, let's do it.
Really my director. So my director, Dave Mack, he's the groups and events director. So him, and then he let them know like what was going on, but they were all for it. Tom was. They even the Sneaker Games guys even made him a custom pair. He wears Air Force Ones to work.
Oh, so okay.
He's usually suited and booted with a pair of Air Force Ones on. So they made him a Dolphins pair.
Oh, so that's fire.
I was excited for him to get those, but the event was amazing. It was buy, sell, trade. It was interactive. So we had panelists from like sneaker influencers. We had performers. We had a game room where Microsoft came and brought these portable gaming devices. So you could sit, you game all day. We had an art district, which is my favorite, of course, where people were selling like different pieces of art. They were customizing shoes.
Wow.
It was just exclusive sneakers. It was sneaker vending machines. It was insane, to say the least.
Yeah.
Luckily for the organization, is everybody who came in also got a Dolphins ticket, so they were able to come back and enjoy the game. So it was a 2-for-1 for us.
Yeah.
The most, because it embodied everything that I wanted to do. It embodied, the sales process from start to, thinking about the event, creating the sales, making that partnership and building those relationships with different, like the Foot Lockers and different organizations and different influencers. And then also like the operations side, where I got to work with our operations team, who they are extremely hard workers. So we always have something going on, but so kudos to them. We got to work with every aspect, guest experience. So I got to like have my hand in all of that. And so that's why I think that probably is my favorite event. I just got to be so hands-on with it.
That's so dope. I mean, and it all kind of comes full circle with the whole life cycle of the sale, because not only are people, one, who doesn't want to come to Miami, first of all, like people are just going to pull up at Miami just because. And two, you got people coming back for games. So now it's like, all right, well, I just, pulled up at Hard Rock. It was dope. I had a great time at the convention. Now let me come back for games, spend more money. So it was a complete win-win, because you get to kind of work in parallel fields, right? Of like, I love shoes, I love art, but also I get to, be in my job, make money for sports, and all that.
It was an event in Dolphins event sales history. So 3 months to get it together. I came on the team in July. The event was in December. I thought about it in like October. So to see it just happen so quickly and to have such big accolades in its first year, I'm happy to see what it's going to do once things go back to normal.
Absolutely. And you said it was in November?
It was in December. So we dropped
December?
It the Red 11's release. We were like, okay, the next day, because people are going to be looking for.
I'm just logically thinking like, yes, of course I would like to go to Miami in December because it's cold. Like, yes. So of course people would like to pull up. Now I want to pivot a little bit in this interview, because this is going to air during Women's History Month, right? A month that oftentimes does not celebrate Black women nearly enough as it should, and all the intersections that we have to offer. Now, when you think of women's history, what kind of comes out to your mind, and how do you celebrate Women's History Month?
Yeah, what comes to mind to me is I feel like behind every strong man, not even behind, beside, and people like to use the word behind, but beside every strong man is a stronger woman next to, like, we love Michelle. Like, we love Michelle. Like,
we love Michelle.
Do we not? Like, look at Jay-Z. We love Beyonce. Do we not? And so for that, I think, again, this goes back to giving us our flowers while we're still here. Black Women's History Month. It's Women's History Month, but Black women in general, like giving us our flowers, because now we're in these spaces. We're in every single space. The young lady Brianna, who's in NASCAR, like we're in these spaces that people don't touch, and we're everywhere now. We're starting to slowly just dabble in everywhere. It may be not so many, but we're starting to be there, and we're starting to be. And so I hope that for years to come, and that this month of March and Women's Appreciation Month, that again, Black women are more celebrated. We are giving our flowers. We are giving our credit due. And so that people start to recognize. So I'm all about like female empowerment with girls who run the world. I've been outnumbered my whole life. 5 boys, no sisters. I'm like, Mom, like what?
Please, yes.
Out of 5, I think I'm holding it down.
Absolutely.
I like to joke with them. Oh, you guys all had league dreams, but guess who's really there? None of them made it pros.
Ooh, shade. But speaking of like sisters, aren't you AKA?
I am.
And how do you feel about your sister being in the White House? Please tell me what was going on in your mind when that went down.
Just if you pink and green emojis, like
everything.
Yeah, she embodied, I think, everything that we want out of our first Black female vice president. Just that's what we wanted. She came from an HBCU. She was a part of a Black Greek letter organization, and it's like this. We bring forth leaders, and again, now we are starting to get our credit. Seeing her do that for us now, we love to brag about being first, and it's like nobody's going to be able to shut us up about being first, because now we have these. Like, what's big? The next is president, so hopefully we can take that too. But vice president was a great accolade. But so seeing my soror do that was like, yes, it's so many. So we have so many sorors that are doing the thing out here, and so to have represent us so elegantly and graciously while still holding her own and being able to speak, let her speak. So my daughter tells everybody, I know who the vice president is. It's Kamala Harris. So I'm hoping she does great things. And I think the sorority as a whole, I think all of us are just like.
Absolutely. I mean, this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. Black women been doing this. It's just now we're starting to get that recognition, starting to get into these spaces, right? Now, as a Black,
important to me. That's what I was saying. So my sorority, I've gained a ton of sisters I don't know. I just wear. It's a sister in the grocery store, a sister at the airport, or on the train. So yeah, I got my sisters there.
Absolutely. Now, as a Black woman in a leadership position, do you feel supported in the work that you do? And what are you doing to get other Black women in these spaces?
So luckily for me, I got the esteemed honor of having my direct manager, the group sales manager with the Dolphins, is a Black woman. Her name is Courtney Campbell. Crazy enough, she's from Jackson, Mississippi, and we did not find out until our first day there.
Wow.
We were introduced.
Small world.
I was like, what? Where are you?
That's crazy.
And so having her, I wasn't on her team at the time, but having her to look up to and having her story there, it was like, oh, this is like I can be, a manager, and they are making these spaces for us.
Right.
But I would be remiss to say that it's just me. It's just me and her. So I would hope that when I do become in a position that it can be more. So it's not just me and her, looking across each other at the desk, like knowing all the Black History Month facts. Like, do you know it's Black History Month?
Right. Like, yo, y'all know. Like,
yeah. So it's just our department. The rest of the organization, there are many Black women in leadership, and so I appreciate being able to give back, and I get so much advice from these women, and they're like, again, mentors or like sisters to me. And so any opportunity I get for Black women, even just women in general, they DM me. You slide in my DMs. I'm busy, and sometimes I respond late, but I'm going to respond. I'm going to pay it forward. Yeah. I want to give you every advice, the best advice that I can give to help you get where you want to get. As long as the relationship is genuine. Or do we need recommendations? What advice do you need? I can see who I know. I'm going to always put your name in rooms that your feet haven't even entered if I'm able to do so.
Absolutely. I love that. And now we've kind of moved into our last segment of this interview called Quick Fire Questions. You have to answer with one sentence or less or one word or less. Cool?
Okay. Cool.
Sweet. What is your favorite place that you've traveled?
Gosh, I haven't been anywhere. I know it sucks. I just got my passport. My favorite place that I've traveled. I'm gonna have to be basic and say I've been to San Francisco. That was cool.
San Francisco's cool. It's not basic. There's some really, really dope places stateside, say the least.
It's probably really cool things though.
Mm-hmm. Where's the favorite place that you've lived?
My favorite place is Miami.
Yeah, I was gonna say. For sure. What's a mantra that you live by?
Ooh, never cease to amaze.
Oh yeah, that's good. What's your favorite thing about being in Miami?
My favorite thing about being in Miami is that it's summer year round.
Yes, please. I'm looking outside at the cold, the barren trees.
Yeah, beach December.
Oh my gosh. What is or your favorite game that you've attended? Game or event? Game or event.
Ooh, it's a tie. Super Bowl, 54 and college national championship this year.
Oh, that's dope. That's really dope. What is some advice that you would like to give to young women coming behind you?
I would say, quote Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan said, I didn't come here to be average. And so make that your goal in everything you do, every room you enter. Be the brightest light. Be somebody that people remember. Stand out. Don't ask questions just to ask. Don't speak just to introduce yourself. Actually get to know people. Remember things about them. That's I have photographic memory, and I always remember the first thing somebody has on, the first time I ever met them. It's weird, but...
Dang, I should have put on more than this graphic tee.
Because I'm going to remember it 20 years from now. But be present and be a bright, don't come in those rooms. Don't come in these rooms average. You have to, and it's true. You have to, what they say, work twice as hard to get half of what some people do. So if it means, my headshot at work is a bright yellow satin shirt.
It is
going through the headshots. You stand out when you walk into smile, you command your attention. You don't go somewhere and be average and be just a name on the roster or be someone that just exists there. Don't be a wallflower. Stand out. This industry is really competitive. There are a lot of people who want your spot. You're not now, as a woman, you're now competing against a double standard, as this is a male-dominated industry. So as a woman, you
for sure
can be capable. And then on top of now being a minority, being the minority in the building, you need to stand out. You'll be judged before you walk into the room. You'll be judged based on the way you talk, your slang, your vernacular. But at the end of the day, do your job and I don't want to curse, be doggone good at your job. Don't
you could do it. It's Friday. Why not?
So don't be average. I say, like Michael Jordan said, don't come here to be average. As my mom says, never cease to amaze. So
absolutely. Boom. And we done. That is Mickey Yant for you all on a Friday. Group sales account executive at the Miami Dolphins. Mickey, thank you so much for taking out the time on a Friday to be with us today at the Black Sports Network. I'm your host. Again, my name is Brianna DeBose. This is our Women in Sports series. Mickey, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.